Stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the HAL Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
HAL Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
HAL Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
You know, Johnny Million, it's always good to talk to you, especially, on a lovely Saturday where the weather is starting to temper towards the fall, we hope.
Yeah.
We're just shy of that temperature where bushes are bursting into flame at random. And we could probably get, refill the oceans if they ever ran dry with all the chest sweat from pedestrians. But there, of course, we've got a lot of news to cover, but not the least of which is that I know some of you were worried. Some of you may have been following along, maybe you were blissfully unaware. But the Mississippi pilot who stole a small private plane from an airfield and was threatening to crash land it into a Walmart in Tupelo, Mississippi, he has landed safely, although roughly, in a cornfield or a farmyard someplace.
Okay, all right. I know this is important stuff we're talking about.
Yep.
But Lisa Mia Moore and Hal Vickery are ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, are they being beautiful right out of the gate this morning?
They're being beautiful, and Hal is apparently being preemptively beautiful.
Oh, look at that. He'll be on a cruise next week, and he's flying home the following week, so we will miss you sorely, Hal Vickery. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for tipping us up today.
Plague.
Yep, thank you for making the show possible. Today's show.
Lisa Mia Moore. I was trying to tag you, but
Yes.
you're untaggable.
Today's show is brought to you by Hal Vickery and Lisa Mia Moore, and the super
Thank
chats
you.
that show up in our and the Patreon supporters who keep us running all the time. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Now, Tupelo, Mississippi, Walmart man steals plane, going to crash it into it. They talk him out of the sky. He has landed in a field, and apparently MAGA world is all aflutter because they are concerned it's one of theirs. I know how they feel. Sometimes when something goes wrong, if in the middle of unrest, a Target gets burned down, part of me goes, that's probably on our side. That's on us. Let's put that in our column. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get worried.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm not for it, but I know it's probably somebody who thinks they're on the right, this side of things, and that's not good. So
They're like, communism, we're doing this for the people.
That's right.
Destroying property.
No, you're not really, actually. And you're destroying the businesses that are in the neighborhoods that had a hard time getting those businesses to come there in the first place. And then they don't return
taxes.
Yeah, it's not good. So I understand the feeling. Although I will say that at least I have the feeling that most of the time when I have those feelings, it's centered around large actions of unrest where wily groups may go a bit rogue away from what the purpose of said
wily
thing is.
I need to use wily more.
It is. It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
And theirs tend to be like these days, especially rogue dudes with nail guns showing up and AR-15 showing up at the Cincinnati FBI field office and very possibly stealing a plane and threatening to crash it into a Walmart. Now, he is down emotionally and physically. So if you are listening to the show while driving through the Tupelo, Mississippi area, if you look at the flight plan, it looks like a joke about those old flight lines that they used to have in like Warner Brothers cartoons.
Yeah.
When they would they'd do a straight line from one place and then a straight line to the next place and then spaghetti.
Yeah.
And then there'd actually be a meatball in the middle of it. That's what it looks like. It's not particularly good. And anyways, he is down. I know everyone was worried, so I wanted to cover that. That said, good morning, welcome. Right now should come as no surprise, none whatsoever. Oh, by the way, this is it's a zombie day. By the way, did you know that?
What?
Did you know today is Zombie Day?
I had no idea.
Yeah, according to the QAnon folks, and I know what you're thinking. Is this another deadline that's going to come and go with nothing happening, that they warned
just
us.
in 2 weeks.
And then, and then nothing. And then they're going to have to come up with another one, and their gullible followers will still go along with it, even though nothing ever pans out. No, it's not. Today, apparently the Q folks think that vaccinated people, including me and you and many of our listeners, are going.
Today's the day?
Yes, today's the day. We are all going to.
It's so crazy. The cravings I had when I woke up this morning, I can't describe it. It explains everything.
The messages are: stay away from anyone who has the jab on September 3rd. We warned you.
That's amazing.
Yes, white hats in control. We Q own you. Keep America great or something. Stay away from anyone who has the COVID jab on September 3rd because we are all going to turn into zombies today. It's zombie day.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
do you think we're going to be like the fast zombies or like old school? Like,
I'm going to be
zombies?
I'm going to be the fast zombie. I'm going to get. What do you want? You think I want to be chewing on buttocks like some low end zombie horde bringing up the rear? I'm a brain eater.
That's a context question. If I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm gonna have a like.
You want to be chewing on buttocks?
You're gonna find me the only zombie out there with an egg hammer and a spoon, like eating them like a soft boiled egg. You know, I'm gonna have a napkin tucked into the top of my shirt, and I'm gonna jump on someone. I'm gonna, of course, tear them to bits or whatever you do as a zombie. I don't know. I think there's an orientation at 4. And I don't want to be late for it today. But I'm going to jump, of course, and they'll have to be, I suppose, dead at some point. And you got to eat them quick because they'll turn into a zombie if you don't eat their brains quickly. And then you tap around the top edge.
Where can I find that so I can like retweet that and put this out there?
This is Ted Lieu actually has posted the Patriot Takes one on. Patriot Takes has it up. And apparently there is there is a oh boy. There is a series of codes that let you know this is the day and how people know it, and how 199 fire emojis, 72 thumbs up emojis, 51 emojis, 37 thank you / prayer emojis, 30 scared emojis, 17 down. I don't know. This sounds like an old controller code to open up God mode in Doom. You know what I mean? Up, down, left, right, left, up, down, left, right, left.
Oh my goodness, I'm falling behind here. Carol Cobb is killing on the super chats.
Oh, lovely.
Julie Palmer.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, yes. We'll miss you, Hal Vickery, she says. He's only gone for a couple weeks. He's not going anywhere permanently. And Mark P., thank you. Looking forward to seeing you at Sexy Liberal DC 1 week from today. That's right. I will be doing
Bobby Brunswick
next week's show from our nation's capital. It's going to be very exciting. I'm excited about it. And then we've got the show that night. I'm going to be in DC a couple days ahead. So Summer and I are leaving early, and we're going to be there, and we're hoping to get a tour of the White House. I don't know if anybody will be there, but we'll be there. Obviously not the real White House.
You think Dark Brandon will be there?
Yes, Dark Brandon he'll be on the rooftop while the Batman theme plays. And
I really don't understand the Dark Brandon thing. I can't tell if it's something that is it something invented by Trumpers to say that he's horrible, or is it something embraced by the libs?
It's a libs meme to push back on the idea that that they think Biden is a monster. Like, because if you hear the talk about Biden, let's be abundantly clear. To sum up, according to MAGA, Joseph Robinette Biden, the current sitting president of the United States, is all at the same time a doddering, dementia-addled, weak, emotionally suffocated, puppeted old man who is in concurrently being the victim of elder abuse and destroying the country because his brain doesn't work. and insists on making the decisions. So he insists on making decisions while his brain doesn't work, and at the same time, he's also puppeted by, I guess, Obama, Oprah, and Hillary Clinton.
And also not president.
And, well, that's, yeah. And, though, he's also a criminal mastermind that runs the world's biggest crime family that has their tendrils in everything on Earth. They have utter control over what goes on in Russia, utter control about what goes on in China. They are effectively teaming up with those two teams to destroy America in the most like insipid, stealthy way, so that they could just like they will never see it coming. Little cuts to our liberties that are one big giant slash. Yeah. Right? He's all those things at once. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds oddly contradictory and impossible and atrociously silly. But what do I know? I'm a zombie. We have to take a break. You were listening to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. I think we're taking a break. Are we taking a break? We're taking a break.
Not hearing the...
I don't hear Chicago. Did they fall off? Are we okay? Are we okay?
Did you not hear the music?
No, I didn't hear the music. So that's
a really good.
Well, we're commercial break right now, so
okay,
don't worry.
Good. All right, good. That's like I go for it, and then I'm like, I don't know if we're in a break. I don't want to say something. I want to try and make it. So yeah. So hold on one, Johnny Million. I'll. Did you see? Oops, hold on. Johnny Million. There he is today. Tweeting this at you. And no surprise that ivermectin is getting a big boost today. Apparently, yes, maggots take ivermectin. It makes you less delicious to us vaccinated zombies, I guess.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martha Celine.
Yeah, you're like
All right, 60 seconds, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And Elizabeth Flores is doing okay. She has good days and bad days, but she's mostly good.
Does this MAGA taste funny to you?
Yeah.
Not ivermectin.
Clowns taste funny.
Yeah, ivermectin. It's like the garlic of the 2020s.
Yeah. My default is chicken sound.
It's good. You can't go wrong. It's a good time. So let me
10 seconds.
Thank you.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Hi, chat room. Hello. Good to see you. Hello.
Hello, chat room.
Chat room. Hello.
You're locked into the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh, you bet we are. So, ever since, I mean, Johnny Million, are you on Truth Social?
I'm not. Do I need to sign up?
Well, I certainly, if you want to avoid some zombies, I suppose that's the only site you're gonna have to go there, because
I can't find anything on like the normal web. I've been doing some very refined searching, and it's just not out there.
Oh no, this is on the Q like threads, stuff like that. But on Truth Social, I mean, Trump has been actually retruthing. Retruthing. Oh God. I mean, it sounds dumber every time you say it. Like the fact that
and I have to confess to all the sparklers, I didn't understand that Truth was just their rebranding of Twitter.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was such
a ripoff. Just
a pure
pathetic.
ripoff.
Yeah. It's pitiful. It literally all they changed was the color scheme. You have a red check mark instead of a blue check mark. Who would have thunk it? Like, it's so stupid. But anyways, Trump basically, since the search of Mar-a-Lago, has been just like, he's been truthing at a mad clip. That, first of all, the site is getting new attention around the world. But the problem he has is, and this is the issue, that's not an issue for other social media platforms, but definitely for his, is that you don't have to subscribe to it or use it to look at what he's typing. You can pull up any user and just look at their feed on Truth. You don't have to sign in. It's not, and I guess in the name of transparency, that should be the way it is. But he built the site that way so everybody can look at what he's saying and laugh at it or I guess pearl clutch about it for those folks that are concerned about the danger of Donald John Trump. But he has been, and again, the site itself is not doing well. When they were talking about our traffic is up 550%. Do you know how in the hole you have to be to have your traffic go up that much in a short amount of time without any new users? It means that people forgot about using it, or that the only reason they go there, the only reason maggots go there from Getter or Gab or Old Yeller. I don't know what, they have so many sites. I'm going to have to take Getter out behind the barred ball. He's frothing at the mouth. So,
Getter really is one?
Yeah, Getter, Gettr. There's Getter, Parler, and Gab. Those are the three main ones. And then they spend a lot of time on Telegram, which is, oddly enough,
so it's just in messaging, isn't it? Do they have like message groups?
Yeah, you have message groups, and the Russians love it. So it's just weird that so does Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood. That's their main outlet. MTG also is a big Telegram user.
So they've just got like big distribution lists where they can spew out their garbage.
Yeah, you can just sign up to it and just watch the feed.
Like,
fly.
I got this directly from MTG.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's basically the same kind of feed, but it's stuff that I guess they think happens sort of out of the normal view. You know what I mean? If you put it on Twitter, people are going to see it immediately, and there's a lot of activity. There's, the Telegram folks, it's like only the true believers. That's the theory, even though. I don't know. It's as bad as her Rumble channel, which is just as dumb. But anyways, Trump's Truth Social is hosted by a right-wing hosting company that came into existence because they believed that right-wing sites and social media companies that are things that lean that way, like Rumble and stuff, would run out of places they could post their sites, that the internet censors and the U.S. government was going to come for these folks, or the big tech oligarchies wouldn't let them post on their site because of, I don't know, little things like calling for violence against their fellow Americans, and they didn't want to be the conduit by which people chose, like, I guess Amazon wants to sell you stuff and have it delivered to your house in uniform brown boxes, rather than be the conduit by which a low-res insurrection or the next Oklahoma City happens, right? So they'd rather that not happen. So this group set themselves up. They're called Right Forge. And Right Forge, yeah, it sounds manly, come on. We're going to hammer in the steel of the ones and the zeros, banging those bits into websites for you. Anyway, so Right Forge is specifically for Trumpers. It is a MAGAt-oriented web hosting company, specifically to service the conservative voice. And Donald Trump has stiffed them for $1.6 million in hosting fees, and now they are in litigation with Truth Social for not paying its bills. They are keeping this site up anyways. Now, again, how many of us would enjoy the same privilege if we owed $1.6 million to our hosting company? They just keep us up there, for America.
Very good.
Yeah. So there's a big litigation coming up into this month, but Trump is stiffing them of this money, $1.6 million. Now again, as the traffic goes up, it gets more expensive. So
Sure, yeah, you got to support that.
That's right. And as he tweets more, people again go to the site. You don't have to subscribe. The traffic for it still exists if you just go to the page and look. So he's not even gaining members while driving the cost up. And I would like to remind you that there was already Parler, Getter, Gab, and Telegram as these outlets. This man decided that what the world needed was yet another bifurcated version of right-wing Twitter to compete with the other four, while a good portion of most conservatives are still on Twitter. Ann Coulter and Ben Shapiro and that crowd, they have Dinesh D'Souza, they have not been kicked off of Twitter because somehow they managed to, even in all of their awful, stay within the terms of service. It's not difficult. All you have
just don't incite violence.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's easy for you to say. That's easy for you to say. I suppose. I mean, wait till 4 o'clock when you turn into a zombie. We'll see if you'll be tweeting. Yeah, all of your tweets will be like, that's all. Like, how do you even spell that? Hashtag emoji, zombie emoji, and then meat. Yeah, the brain emoji. Nom, nom, nom. Hashtag nom, 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 brain. So the idea that Trump is some sort of master businessman should have been thrown out years ago when he didn't write Art of the Deal. And Art of the Deal came out the year he lost more in New York real estate than any person in American history to date. Also, he borrowed in the early 90s, just a couple of years later, he borrowed $56 million from his siblings just to keep the lights on at Trump Tower. They got these magic loans in the late 90s, early 2000s from Deutsche Bank and others when all the other banks had told them to go pound sand because they weren't building anything anymore. They were just a labeling company. And then The Apprentice came along, and the myth of Trump as a good businessman has carried on in MAGA mythology ever since.
So weird.
And he just ain't. He's terrible at this. Who looks at an environment where there's already 4 of something maxed out and says, another one? Especially when it's not just getting the subscribers. Because if he set the thing up, everybody who subscribes to Parler, subscribes to Gab, subscribes to Getter, and probably has a Telegram channel. They all have it. And they're busy all day bouncing their crap around. Half of them are probably using Buffer or some other service so they can send it the same message to 4 sites at once because it gets exhausting. I don't know how the interaction can build it all. But who takes that and says, we need one more of those that looks exactly like the thing you're used to using that you most likely have not been kicked off of, and we'll make money doing that. No surprise, it's tanking. It's not making money.
Who advertises on that nonsense?
No one that I know of. I mean, I don't know what their actual financial plan is for making money at all, unless it's simply the Save America PAC idea. Like he's just using this is just a manipulation to get people's phone numbers, get their private details so he can send them fundraising emails. And from that, and that's what keeps him afloat right now. And this is why Donald Trump is not going to declare that he's running for the president. Kirshner's Jared said last week, it's complicated. No, it isn't. He can't afford to not do it. He needs the Save America money. He needs the Save America money to keep the lights on at Mar-a-Lago and at Bedminster and in Trump Tower. And the minute he stops taking that money, there is no other revenue stream at all. There isn't one. I'm going to show you, when we come back, I'm going to read you a couple of those truths which I guess
Wait.
you default to being true. Is this like, it's like they should just call it the fifth social.
Yeah.
Since he declared the fifth 440 times, 432 times.
What? Really?
Yeah, in his deposition.
Do you have to say it over and over again, or
Yeah,
can you just
I
say
thought it could be a rubber stamp. Nope, he had to do it every time. It's kind of great. We'll be back right after this.
Madness.
Yep. The FBI is totally corrupt. They blatantly use their power to get a cognitively impaired Democrat elected president in 2 elections. In 2 elections. So he thinks Hillary was cognitively impaired.
They won both.
And all right, I don't know. And she won the popular vote, so he's still chafed about that. They spied on my campaign in caps, and now broke into my home in caps, using a radical left Trump-hating magistrate to grant approval, and indiscriminately stole everything within reach, including my passports. They even...
Is that really the case, though?
No.
Trump-hating magistrate?
No. They even rifled through the First Lady's closets, dresses, and drawers. Hello?
She's there?
Huh? No. They are an out-of-control group of highly partisan, quote, mobsters. He's got them in quotes. A real threat to democracy. The FBI is a threat to democracy. That was 4 hours ago. I'm obviously going to be covering...
Wait, 4 hours ago?
Yeah. I'm obviously going to be covering his rally today.
Oh, no. Where's that happening?
In Pennsylvania. He's trying to salvage Oz's campaign. And he more than likely, he's really more concerned about Mastriano, because he feels like if they have the governors, they can control the elections. He's, part of him has already given up on Oz, and his own people are still calling into right-wing radio and saying they're going to vote for Barnett in. Who's bringing the crudité?
Coming back in 20 seconds.
Thank you. What? Wow.
Attention. Stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh my God!
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Okay, so the most recent one. Am I getting a loop back? Do you guys hear that?
I don't hear anything weird.
I hear like it's like a loop coming from you or something that's like...
My computer fan's going kind of nuts.
Oh, I see. That might be it. There you go. That brought it down. It was something fascinating. That was better.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, the most recent the most recent Trump or re-Trump on Fifth Social was "Get Smart America" in all caps, comma, "We are losing our country!" exclamation points. 3 of them. Missed it by that much. Okay. Right before that, is the Department of, quote, Justice any better than the FBI, an out-of-control group of political, quote, mobsters and partisans that spied on my campaign, defrauded the FISA court, went after my supporters, broke into my home, and lied and cheated all over the place, including to Congress? No! Just no in all caps at the end of it. No! No! Why? And then right before that, the FBI is totally corrupt. They blatantly used their power to get a cognitively impaired Democrat elected president. Well, a cognitively impaired master criminal. Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
In 2 elections, I don't know what that means. I don't know if he thinks that Biden has beaten him twice or something. I don't know. They spied on my campaign in all caps. It wasn't in all caps in the later ones. This one, for some reason, he was, yeah. And now broke into my home in all caps. Using a, and the letters are capitalized, using a radical left Trump-hating magistrate to grant approval and indiscriminately stole, in caps, everything within reach, including my passports. This man, this is a former president of the United States saying the FBI, who gave a highly detailed itemized list to his attorneys when they left and served them with a proper search warrant and took pictures of everything they took with them, returned his passports even though they didn't have to because they were expired. And the fact that his passports were right next to classified documents in his desk looks like something out of the dumbest spy movie ever. You know what I mean? Like I need to be ready to go out the door. I got to have those special documents and my passport so I can hightail it out of here. You know, he goes, within reach, including my passports. They even rifled, and he put that in quotes, through the first lady's closets, dresses, and drawers. They are an out-of-control group of highly partisan, quote, mobsters, a real threat to democracy. The former president of the United States is saying that the FBI is a threat to democracy because they spent months trying to get him to return classified top-secret documents. He lied about returning them. He kept a bunch of them. They had to do a search warrant. They went through the proper process. They served him with it. They gave him an itemized list of everything that they took. And they are, quote, a group of highly partisan mobsters, a real threat to democracy. The former president of the United States is calling the FBI, knowing full well, by the way, that one of his maggots attacked the Cincinnati FBI office, calling them a threat to democracy. A real threat. The real threat. Now, on a lighter note, he also, and you can tell that anything he's writing, just read it as the opposite. This is just him trying to stack.
It's perpetual.
This, an hour before that, when he was trying to remember to promote the rally in Pennsylvania, he was telling people to get there early and said, thank you to Newsmax and others for doing such a great job of TV coverage. The ratings are incredible. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know what he's talking about, but get there early.
What ratings?
He has been, and yeah, he's also been telling people that people have been lining up for his rally in Pennsylvania since Thursday. I don't know. I don't know.
Does that include like driving up in a trailer?
Yes, I think parking in a big, like dragging your double wide behind the pickup all the way without the wheel still on it. This is about truth. Now understand, truth, it's not even a question that Truth owes RightForge $1.6 million. That's not a question. Even, Trump's lawyers aren't disputing that. It's a genuine issue with their hosting company. Also, the SPAC that he got his funding through is in trouble now because the idea is that a SPAC is like a grab bag or a magic box at a toy store. You're not supposed to know what it is, what it's going to be used for. It's kind of like it's sort of like a version of a blind trust, and you can trust who's going to run it.
Have any knowledge about it,
right? Well, it turns out everybody knew it was going to be used to build Trump Media and Technology Group, and one of the reasons why, when it goes to campaign stuff, why using a SPAC would be necessary or some way that you could have some plausible deniability about who's investing and what they want in return is by using a SPAC. If they already know what the SPAC is going to do and that it's going to you and that you're going to, run for president again, or you're going to run a political, media group against the United States government, which is what this is now. This is not an anti-Biden thing. This is against the function of the U.S. government. Then anybody who invested in that SPAC knew that was the plan and may invest in it not because they expect a return, not because they have this money, they're diversifying their fund and they want to put it in some stuff because they're gamblers, but because they're counting on him to do this. And foreign investors in SPACs, don't have the same limitations that they have in certain businesses. So foreigners can invest in SPACs because the idea is that they don't know, it's not like them investing in Boeing or some of these other things. There has to be foreign governments, for example, couldn't invest in certain companies that make military gear for the United States, that kind of stuff. So we know that the SPAC is now being looked at as a criminal enterprise, and and Truth itself is crapping the bed. And so, of course, this is what he writes. Truth, in all caps, is doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
It has truly become our MAGA voice, in all caps, but also a voice for the rhinos and radical left lunatics. I didn't think he was reading my truths, but apparently he is. Engagements are far better, more interesting, and spirited than anywhere else.
Who typed this?
Well, I consider
I'm apparently very loud compared to you. I keep getting that.
Oh, all right. Okay. I don't know why that would be, but I'll remedy that. Engagement and by spirited meaning people are going on there and yelling crap at him. That's what he means. I like it much better than Twitter, which is a complete mess. Sign up on Truth now, only getting stronger. Google is coming along nicely, I think, in parentheses. SEC trying to hurt company doing financing, SPAC, who knows? In any event, I don't need financing. And then, oddly enough, in quotes, he puts, I'm really rich, with an exclamation point. In quotes.
That's weird.
That's super weird. I don't need financing. I'm really rich. Private company, anyone? Right. Private company, anyone? That's what he said with three question marks. I mean, I know why he put I'm really rich in quotes. Do you think the MAGA voice people do? That's unbelievable.
I'm really starting to not like this guy.
Yeah, I'm starting to think he doesn't have our best interests at heart. I'm starting to question this whole America First business. I think when he says we're losing our country, he might be yelling about how Russia is doing in the Ukraine war right now. Boy, is that not going well. We'll cover some of that after the next break. But
can I throw in some super chats?
Yes,
here?
please.
So James Etling sent us a super chat and also asked, any chance someone might leak the questions from the deposition when Trump didn't plead the fifth and is it more than 5 questions?
I think he pled the fifth to everything. Insofar as I know, there were not any exceptions. Almost 440 times, 432 times, something like that. He pled the fifth in over 5 hours. And now Johnny's voice is too low. Beg your pardon.
Now I'm too quiet, of course. See, look here, Goldilocks.
All right, I got it. I think this should be better.
Johnny's way too. Look, you don't need to call me soft, Hal. Hal Vickery is like now taking pot shots at me.
Ouch, that's terrible. Oh, and William Beaver also super chatted us as well.
Yeah, you saw that one. And
yes.
Francis Langham.
Oh, Francis,
She's
thank
the one
you.
Who came up with the idea of the Johnny Million CPAP mask.
You're gonna make me spit my coffee out.
And Be Pragmatic is turning 50 tomorrow.
All right,
lovely.
This is my birthday month as well. I will be in Chicago my birthday weekend. I'm just saying. The Chicago Sexy Liberal show is the day before my birthday. No pressure, but tickets are on sale now, Chicago. That's right. It's sexyliberal.com. And CPT's giving away tickets, too, if you're a regular listener. You might be able to win some. So now we're good. Okay. So it should come as no surprise that the same day that that vaccinated zombies is trending and is getting around that ivermectin is getting another boost. My guess and Johnny's guess is that ivermectin makes you taste bad to the vaccinated zombies, and therefore, therefore that will keep you safe. That's my only theory, but I am sticking to it. It's the only way
Kinda
this
like garlic.
Yeah, it's the modern garlic. That's right. So let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a bit about the Russia-Ukraine war. Our dear friend Philip Bittner is still in the United States. He's hanging about, and we may be able to run into him in LA in the next week or so. So I'm going to try and get a meetup together. And in the overlapping time that we're there, fingers crossed, we can do a sit-down actual interview in person. Be a lovely thing. And and for the record, last night at Counts Vamped here in Las Vegas, I got up and sang with Chicago's very own Enough's Enough, and sang Fly High Michelle and New Thing with them. It was a great time had by all, and it was a little moment where a little lightning bolt shot from Vegas to Chicago from our hearts to you guys. We'll be back right after this. Okay, let me see this. So, I'm gonna have to buy you subscriptions to a bunch of news things just so you're able to pull them up so that I don't send them to you. They don't end up you don't end up just getting a big ad going, subscribe, you've outdone your regular articles. I do that. It happens all the time. I'm having to get subscriptions to everything if I need to look at it twice. Yeah. Hold on one second.
Did you see William? You did see William Beaver.
Yes.
Okay.
All hail Zombie
Back
Beaver.
in 20.
Yes.
Reminds me of the movie Teeth.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gonna I know I'm only on one day a week. I get it. I'm gonna have to jump on GarageBand and start sawing something together. This is the HAL Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive and all. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hey, Hal, did you mean something like this?
This is the HAL Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive and all. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
The HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Peter in our chat room is saying how my brother Mark was born on September 25th as well. Mark and I have the same birthday, and he was very active in New Trier Theater and on Broadway. And Peter will be at the 24th show. How do I contact you? Well, Twitter, reach out through that. And if you're going to be at the meet and grope, that'll be cool. If you're if you're in the Chicagoland area, I'm going to try and do a lunch before. I'm going to try and set up a gathering, before some of these with either a coffee or something like that. It depends on where the place is, right? The day of. So I will post, if I'm able to find a place, I will post that. That'll be one of the easiest ways, kind of a mini meet and grope.
People in chat want to know when your birthday is, Hal.
September 25th. Same as Mark Hamill and Barbara Walters and Christopher Reeve. Obviously, all good people. Also Will Smith, but we'll put a pass on that temporarily till he learns how to apologize like a real human being. Now.
That was a bad apology.
It was pretty terrible. So, no. The answer, I was wrong. I am sorry. You don't owe me anything. When you're ready to talk, no. I got news for you, buddy. Nobody has. That's up. You don't get to ask. You don't get to put it in their lap after you struck them. That's not how it works. Anyway, so, one of the big concerns is let me even. I know it's not the happy ending because we got another hour of the show, but let me tip us towards a bit of a, let's brighten things up a little bit. There is not going to be a civil war or riots in the street over the incarceration or indictment or criminal trial of Donald John Trump. It is
Come
not going to happen.
But I'm buying supplies.
Yeah, no. I mean, there'll be, again, I think there will be more maggots that will go down into their bomb shelter and wait out the end times, you know what I mean, and pray for the rapture when it starts, than there will be actually participating in it. Don't get me wrong, there are small groups of lunatics that are doing, like the Patriot Front guys. I'm sure some of you saw the video of them practicing with their little shields. That was not to fight cops and soldiers. That was to fight Antifa. They do these little things where they show up and they basically have these like low-res gang fights with Antifa. And they make their own Patriot shields to fight back against the Antifa shields, and that's what they're practicing. It's silly, and if it keeps them busy, I don't care. And if they feel a sense of community, one of the things about that will keep them from going rogue and shooting up a place because they feel like they've got an outlet for that stuff. So to some degree, as dumb as it is, it's like some of the militias in Michigan, the fact that they have the militia is partly what keeps each one of those people in the militia from doing something awful on their own. It's a kind of an ironic twist. But there is not going to, I'm telling you, there is no one wants to die for none. All right. No maggot wants to skip all you can eat wing night at Chili's on behalf of Donald Trump, much less die at the hands of their fellow Americans in some sort of bloody feudal war circa 1856. It's stupid.
We see them come out of the woodwork every now and then. There's been like one every 8 months who's willing to die for him.
And even them, what was up?
Something just went dark.
On your screen or on me? I still see you. You're fine. It is not going. I'm just saying it flat out. I know it's nervy, and they talk about it. The danger of him inciting an individual is big enough because thanks to AR-15s and giant magazines and the ability for people to store almost as much ammo as they could possibly want, a single lone wolf in the United States can do a lot of damage. And the biggest concern we have is those folks. It is not an on the streets, Walking Dead, back and forth. It is not. It's not, Walking Dead season 7. It just isn't. It is not going to happen. Stop it. News people, stop it. What you need to talk about is the fact, and part of it is it gives the illusion of strength, because some of these people, some of these rogue actors, the reason why they might feel driven is because they believe there will be a civil war, that they can start it, that they can kick it. All they have to do is kickstart it and everybody else will join in. And the talk about he has control over a large group of followers and he could create he's got a whole army of blah, 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 which he absolutely does not have, builds the illusion in these people's minds that they could actually spark some sort of revolution. They cannot. They will not. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. No, there's not going to be any uprising of more than 6 people ever. And the worst part, there are 2 things we have to primarily worry about in what Trump is saying and what he's inciting. A person who was inclined to do an Oklahoma City style bombing, with 2 of their friends, who's, smart and tactical enough to keep it on the down low until it happens. Or just someone walking into a store or stealing an airplane and crashing it into a Walmart. Individual stuff. It is not because there is a mass of people. And the illusion that there's a mass of people reinforces the delusion that these people have that they are on the side of some movement in history when they are not.
Someone in chat, Suzanne said they cannot afford an attorney. That's a huge part of it. Because if you pretend to go to war and start shooting people.
Oh, yeah. You need a really good
murder.
Yeah, you need a really good attorney. And again, the only reason, like this guy, one of the most recent guys who got put away, he got 10 years, former cop, former Marine, and the judge was all towards being lenient. He beat up a cop. He was part of a group that like struck a cop with one of these like bicycle racks, and then they beat him afterwards. It was really egregious. He was beating on this cop. And the judge was, according to the transcripts, had a tendency to go, look, you got swept up in this thing. You've served the country well. You used to be a cop. Something, you should get, we should take that into account when you're being sentenced. However, you sat here during this whole trial and made yourself out to be the victim and the hero in this situation. That you were just trying to do something good for America, which makes you a hero, and you were the victim because you got swept up in this thing. Meanwhile, never taking total responsibility until you were convicted for attacking a police officer and nearly taking their life. And had someone next to you not either moved you on to the next target, or you'd have thought, I guess they were down for the count and it didn't matter, you would have. So this guy got 10 years. This guy got 10 years for Donald Trump.
Damn.
And while January 6th was a lightning in a bottle moment for Trump and his movement, still said there were tens of thousands of people at the Ellipse listening to his speech. And a very small portion of them actually went to the Capitol. The rest of them went home. They thought it was going to be like the Women's March or any other thing where they'd go, we want our country back. And then once it turned ugly, especially, they all got on a bus. There is no there in this giant movement to support Donald Trump, and it whittles down every single day. I am very curious to see what the turnout will be at this rally in Pennsylvania, considering he is supporting Dr. Oz, whom his own supporters cannot stand and are still angry that he beat out Barnett, who's a total Q lunatic, like a Carrie Lake, like the woman who beat Harriet Hegman, the woman who beat Liz Cheney in Wisconsin. They're nuts. And yet his own followers are angry that he's still supporting Mehmet Oz. That's not going to play well. And if Oz comes up and speaks, it'll be interesting to see how much cleanup he has to do. We're going to have another moment where he gets booed by his own people. It's one thing when Biden's giving a speech about democracy and warning everyone that there's a difference between conservative Republicans and MAGA Republicans. But then at the, and somebody yelling, "Let's go Brandon," through a bullhorn while he's doing it there. That actually made Biden's point during that speech. That is entirely different. Then can you imagine if Biden during that speech said something like, we have to respect conservative Republicans because even if we don't agree with their policies, politics is better than bloodshed. And and a bunch of like left-leaning Dems, like the squad, all stood up and turned their back on him when he said, we don't want violence. Can you imagine that happening? That's what happened when Trump stumped for Oz last time. Wrap your head around.
People got said that he didn't want violence.
No, they got mad because he was supporting Oz. They were because he was voting for Mehmet Oz. So that was enough. Because you got to understand, these folks. First of all, Trump is going to turn into a zombie today. He's been vaccinated. I don't know how to break it to these people. Yeah. So has Mehmet Oz, and Mehmet Oz. Probably will do it on stage. Wouldn't that be magical? I mean, we won't be able to enjoy it because we're going to turn
transform.
Just in the middle of his I think crudité, and then he just starts, like in 28 Days Later, his eyes start going bloodshot, and he's like, "Get away!" Like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. I have to say, we won't be able to enjoy it because we'll be doing the exact same thing at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all turning into zombies.
If it's at a certain time. If it's where the sun is, because it has to be, I don't know how it works. We'll have to look it up. But you have to understand, they wanted somebody else. The MAGA crowd wanted somebody else. They don't believe that Oz is sufficiently MAGA. As a matter of fact, he stopped mentioning Trump in his ads after that first endorsement. but they don't have a choice at this point. We gotta take a break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, brought to you by our lovely folks who super chat on the show, and of course our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/HAL Sparks. And also, we're live streaming on Facebook at infotainmentwars.com. We'll bring you to our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up or give a thumbs down if you hate this, because the algorithm don't care. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Charlie, that's terrible, Keith. Quit it.
That is terrible.
It's terrible.
Does he really? No, he doesn't really.
Mm-mm. He looks like a bit like a Snapchat filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But only when he's mad. I don't know how that works. So I do not, with Trump saying he's taking care of the Jan 6ers and he's going to pardon them very strongly when he gets back, it's not going to happen. He could have done it before he left, stupid. It's not going to happen. It will not happen.
He's getting some advice in the super chats.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, from Buddha and the Eagle.
Yeah? What's the advice?
Avley on the Park is a 7-minute walk from the Harris Theater and has a lovely rooftop. Could be a great place to meet up. Pretty sexy, liberal. Chicago and DC rooftop looks good for DC.
Oh, great. I love that idea. Tweet me those locations at Hal Sparks on Twitter. I'll look at them. That's great. Yeah, he's going to give them that's right, Bob Carmody, a very strong apology. I'm going to give them a very strong apology, a very strong pardon. Not just the tip like the old pardons. I'm going to ram this pardon down.
Wait, someone in the chat says that Dr. Oz is not a U.S. citizen.
He's he's Turkish. He's got dual citizenship.
Oh.
I think he was born in Turkey, if I'm not mistaken, so he can't run for president.
I gotcha.
Oh my God. Bill Barr had no guts and got no glory. He was a weak and pathetic rhino who was so afraid of being impeached that he became a captive of the radical left Democrats. Please, please, please don't impeach me, he supposedly said. Fuck. This is Trump again. Barr never fought the way he should have for election integrity and so much else and much more. Like he just can't drop the game show shit. He started off okay as AG, but faded fast, didn't have courage or stamina. People like that will never make America great again.
And Mr. Monster, you should be proud about Donald Trump and Operation Warp Speed. He helped get the vaccines out.
Should I be proud about Donald Trump for Operation Warp Speed? It doesn't seem like any of his supporters are proud of him for that. Oh, no. Well, as a matter of fact, the biggest mistake he had was calling it Operation Warp Speed. There is no other version of reality where any president wouldn't pre-buy doses of a vaccine in an emergency like that, so that they could fund the process, get ahead of it, and make sure that they hurried up and did it because people were dying. That was in the pandemic team's plan that they left behind. It was always the plan. The CDC, the NIH have always talked about the need for that kind of thing if we ever faced a really bad one. So there was no version of reality where Trump, thought up that plan. His idiocy was him naming it Operation Warp Speed, because the reason why maggots don't want to take the vaccine, besides the fact that it turns you into a zombie, is that they feel like he rushed it, that it's untested. And Operation Warp Speed is part of the problem. Calling it Operation Fart Steed, Captain's log, is the reason they feel that way. Literally. If they'd have called it, Operation Vaccinated Eagle, a lot more maggots, right, would have, right? They would have probably thought it was for bird flu. Never mind. Thank you, Ball Thanos. There was no point where they, like I said, where anybody else would do it that way. It was just he had to name it warp speed because it sounded like something from TV. Because he's a dipshit. It's so dumb. It's so it's embarrassingly dumb. Ugh. Let's see. No.
And Josh, HAL knows exactly when to curse and when not to curse. It's
yes,
crazy.
Right. Here we go. Yeah. Yes, warp speed, like Star Wars. How is Breitbart going down, I hope?
We're coming back in 20.
Thank you. I don't know that I even take, like, Breitbart only pops up occasionally, kind of like Drudge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure there are people who go there every day on their side, and clamor for what's being said there because of how it's being said. But there have been a couple of moments where Drudge is called BS and they don't like him for it.
You're listening to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Plus face little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back. So since it's Labor Day weekend, I thought I'd point out that over the last year and a half, especially, but partly in response to the government giving out unemployment insurance and helping people during the COVID lockdown, which was of course all Democrats, and the Republicans were like, no, okay, I guess. Even Trump, if you guys remember when Trump first signed the initial funding to fight COVID, he asked for $2 billion and Congress gave him $8 billion. Right. And he was like,
I don't remember that.
I didn't ask for it, but I'll take it. That was the big quote. I didn't ask for it, but I'll take it. And he signed I'll take it. What do you mean you'll take it, dummy? It goes right out the door. The spending goes where it needs to go. We needed PPE. We needed to start, turn the research labs in the United States on high alert. That's where a lot of that money went. Okay. So, and you needed, fresh PPE, especially for doctors and nurses and stuff, because they were going through stuff at a clip. It was crazy because they, the first version of COVID and then Omicron were the two most contagious. Delta slightly less so, thank God, because it was more deadly. But that's how coronaviruses often balance. And it was the dangerous mix of the original coronavirus. Its deadliness was way higher than most, and its contagion level was standard or even higher for, like the flu or a cold. And the problem is, it isn't that it was going to be deadly to, like Ebola or something spreading across and just killing everyone in its path, but by its contagious nature and the number of people it could kill, the death rate that went with it, because of that proximity tightening, it made it far more deadly than almost any disease we'd seen in a long time, because it could get more people, and just by the shotgun approach, it could kill more people. That was the concern. So we were talking about Operation Warp Speed during the thing, but one of the things that, when businesses shut down and people, the government had to support people during that time, and we expanded UI, and the Democrats were for it, and they extended it in many ways. Trump is still chafing at Mitch McConnell for not promising $2,000 when Biden was saying we'll get $2,000. They got the $600, and then they added $1,400, and still, the Marianne Williamsons of the world will still angry that this was a broken promise because it wasn't another 2 on top of the same. Like it was such a semantical argument favoring, the Trump crowd. But Trump was mad at Mitch McConnell for not, promising we'll get you a whole 2,000. Well, Republicans aren't going to do that. Not when you're the party of Rand Paul. He's going to shut it down and it'll never leave committee. Yeah. He can't even make that promise if he wanted to. You think we're intransigent. You think we have to deal with, Manchin and Sinema getting stuff across the finish line. You talk about a narrow margin. Even when they have the votes, some members of their party will shoot stuff down that the Republicans are trying to get passed through. It's hilarious because they can't be the party of actually doing stuff, because when your entire premise is that government doesn't work and can't do anything right, if it starts to do stuff right, it ruins your whole premise. If you don't believe me, see all the, there's no difference between the Dems and Republicans crowd. Nothing is allowed to work, because if it does, then it points out what a moron they are. So anyways, during the last year and a half especially, but, and it's ramped up, there's what's called a real-time inequality tracker. And the bottom 50% of households in the United States have fared better post-COVID than the middle class and the upper class. That as far as expanding, pocketbooks and available funds, the adjusted wealth growth in the lower 50% was 2.8%.
Oh, wow.
Which is somewhere in the order of, I want to say, $3 trillion. In adjusted wealth spread out over, a relatively large swath of people. But we're not talking about children and elderly people who are retired necessarily. We're talking about working poor is the idea. 2.8% growth. And that's because of the tightening job market, because of wage growth. Wages have gone up 5.6%. And even with inflation, depending on where you are, the inflation is still in that adjusted 2% range on some items, and obviously much higher in certain areas, but there's not a metered, 30% rise in everything. Some things are available, some aren't, because it's not based on monetary policy, it's based on supply shock. By contrast, those in the middle 40% were down 4.9%. So the middle class during this time, and that's largely because they have, to some degree, they have stock holdings, and a lot of their work entails jobs that require more travel, and they can't commute to work on a bus, or they don't go the regular routes. They have to fly places. They have to do things, and some stocks, because of supply shock, have gone down. Some of them may have investments that were involved in China or overseas, or even the European stock market, which has taken a hit. Maybe they have a diversified portfolio that took some, as part of their IRA that went down. So they've lost 5%. The upper 1% have lost more than 10%. Largely because of stock fluctuations, even with them going up. They have not been apparently betting in the right direction. Now, there have obviously been some standouts like Jeff Bezos and Musk and a few others, but those are a few isolated beings that are involved in a few isolated businesses that are either incredibly important or became meme stocks during COVID. And that helped boost those things up. Amazon is one of the reasons why the American people rode out the COVID lockdowns more healthfully than other countries did.
Sure.
Yeah. So America's working class has been buoyed by outsized wage gains in one of the tightest labor markets in decades. Incomes among the bottom 50% adjusted for inflation increased 1.3%. And by the way, inflation is year over year. So once it goes back down, those wages are going to stay where they are. More than likely, nobody's going to back down from that wage increase. If they do, they'll end up letting one person go, and that's where you'll see adjustments you'll see, like you saw last week, we got 315,000 jobs added during the month of August, but unemployment ticked up to 3.7 because more people entered the hunt for jobs. They're looking for a job now. And also, as we get near the fall, people decide, am I going to go to college or am I going to take a job or take a year off or those kind of things.
Sure.
That can affect it as well. So, while the middle 40% fell by 0.2% since April fell by 2% in the first half of 2022. Since April 2020, a real income growth for the lower half of the U.S. at about 45% has roughly doubled the pace nationwide. So while these are small increments, they are meaningful in the day-to-day when you're paycheck to paycheck. They in some cases are the thing that allow you to get one step ahead, to finally get a toehold. And then long term, these are the things that elevate a generation. These are the things that lead to people going to college and university when they really had written it off as a possibility. It's a good thing. And so happy Labor Day weekend to everybody, and recognize that, by the way, that 2.8% through the first 6 months of this year, just in the first 6 months, that alone is a major add for this particular group of people in this income bracket. The middle income bracket going down 4.9%, while it's not great or fun, is not the kind of thing that pulls the rug out from under you or makes your choices where you're not making a cat food or medicine choice. And the top 1% could lose 30% of their wealth and nobody told them. So it's a fascinating thing, and I think it's worth noting that when a Democrat is in office, things trend towards more equity, even just in the normal structures of things. It's good. We'll be back right after this.
We're getting some questions about when the Trump rally is.
I think he's on, it's East Coast time, so I think he's on at 7. So, yeah. Let me see. I'm pretty sure.
Apparently, Andrea DM'd you the recommendations from Buddha and the Eagle.
Awesome. The event starts at 7. That means Trump isn't going to speak at 7. So,
is Trump like the Axl Rose of rallies? Does he show up late?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's been late multiple times, where they just had to sit there playing music for a long time.
We're back in 20.
Thank you. Yeah, he's there to promote Oz and Mastriano because they're not doing well. He's losing. Oz is losing to Fetterman by 8 points right now.
He should be losing by so much more.
Now, that's not fair because...
This is Damian Perdue of Think Theory Radio, Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to HAL Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I thought there was going to be a new one every break. I was so excited.
You want more, Hal? We'll give you more. HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. Hoo-yah!
Oh, I have to say, this picture of Trump eating at I think he's at Bedminster.
I want to see a picture of him
in the common area. It's not. I mean, he looks bad. He's an old man, and old men are. Old people are allowed to look like crap. But
thank you.
I feel seen.
As long as you notice that my calves are still kind of defined.
They are. Secondly, excuse me, we're the same age.
Yeah, Hollywood 50 is different than
Is that what I am? I'm Hollywood 50. I'm 53. I'll be 53 this month.
I'm already 53. I'm so much older than you.
Yeah, by a month or two, a month and a half, 6 weeks, something like that. Get out of here.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, it's Hollywood Hal. That's going to be my new nickname. I'm going to wear shades all the time. It's going to be a thing. I'm going to be the
I just Googled Trump eating, and I should not have done that.
Oh, no. Yes. Not a good thing. Don't do it. Richard Marks just tweeted the picture out. I
love Richard's Twitter feed.
Oh, he's lovely. He's a good man and a Chicago native.
Yes.
Yes. See, there's a lot of good music comes out of Chicago. I'm just saying. I don't know when that started, but man, it's stuck there. But enough about ministry. All right, here we go. The fascinating thing for me, and by the way, I will be covering the Trump rally on my live stream later on today. I just don't know when he's actually going to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my system up, and then once he actually shows up, I will go live streaming it like a couple of minutes after he has started and do my thing, commenting, so that,
do my thing.
So that we don't have to sit there and I don't have to lose my voice yammering while we're waiting for this guy to, come out like Axl Rose circa 1991. So there has to be, again, there is definitely some bad news showing up in Trump world that is bigger than what we are seeing come out. Now, they're seeing the filings that they're getting. And the best example I can give of why every protestation that Trump is making is absolute garbage and hilarity is the very fact that he himself could release all 60 days of the footage that they gave to the DOJ of Mar-a-Lago's security cameras. There is nothing stopping them from showing who came and went from that office, who came and went from that storage room, at what time, and whether they deserve to or not. But they will not. You heard it here first, folks. If they'll cut little pieces. The minute they cut 10 minutes, 3 seconds of the door of that place, they're going to show you them putting the lock on the outside, the padlock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not one of those perforated bathroom doors that you could just walk through like a wall in The Man with Two Brains, or just tick the hinges are outside, so you could just knock the top of them off and open the door that way. Good Lord. This is what happens when the only 15-year-olds you've ever been around are rich and don't have to sneak in anywhere.
No.
They have to sneak out. They don't have to sneak in. Just saying. So they at any point could have released the warrant itself. They had it. They absolutely had the warrant, but they did not release it. They have this footage. They could have released it. They had the receipt of items, and they chose, his lawyer and Trump chose for 3 days to say that that his attorney who was present was not allowed to see the warrant, did not get a copy of it, and did not get a copy of the itemized list when she in fact signed it at 6:19 p.m. on the 8th, right after they were done.
Pages.
Yeah, multiple times. She lied, and those lies led to some lunatic showing up at the Cincinnati field office with a nail gun because he thought that could break through bulletproof glass, and then he could shoot through the glass with his gun and kill people. That was why he brought the nail gun. Now, Trump himself, has said today, this morning, and more than likely how he speaks the incendiary language. I mean, I think a lot of people are just geared up for him to really go off the rails in this rally tonight and say the stuff that he's saying on his truth feed. I mean, it looks like he's road testing statements. Anyways, it sounds like he's gonna say they broke into my home, laid siege to it. They're mobsters and gangsters. He's gonna decry them as enemies of democracy. And again, it is not going to lead to everyone at this Pennsylvania rally getting a bunch of pitchforks and going, a riot, is an ugly thing, and it's about time we had one. They're not going to do that. What it might do is make one or two of them snap and steal a plane and crash it into a Walmart. That's my concern. And he just doesn't care. And each one of these they will handle as some sort of, totally unrelated, the same way, people in the past have obviously been, incentivized to behave in a certain way. Walk down to the Capitol, and I'm going to walk down there with you. Even though walking down there means getting in my car and having myself driven there. Wait a minute, you're supposed to drive me there. Wait a minute, where are you going? Why are you taking me back to the White House? If I'm not there, it won't work. Oh, dear. So, Lori's saying, I hope there's a thunderstorm. I don't want anyone struck by lightning, but rain would be hilarious. No. I have no interest in that. What I would, by the way, if it did rain, they would go, this climate change stuff is garbage. You could just kind of expect that. Now, let's talk a moment about Russia and Ukraine. Let's catch up what's going on there. The IAEA was dealing with all of last week and the week before the threat of a strike on a nuclear facility, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear facility, where it looks like the Russians were parking vehicles inside this one of the storage buildings, punching holes in the roof and firing stuff out of it, using these buildings to basically hide their howitzers. And look, I'm all for a good game of hide the howitzer, but this is uncalled for. Now, luckily, the IAEA was able to move in, and they are leaving people behind there. And hats off to the IAEA team. They're always putting themselves in danger just by being at a lot of these facilities when they check stuff in Iran and in other parts of, the satellite countries of the former USSR. These are dangerous places to go. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in those things. Apparently, every window in those countries is a third floor window, and they're always open 24/7. And there's always a banana peel right in front of them. It's a Russian cultural thing, but their 5 members are staying there to monitor what's going on. This will keep either side from feeling like they can strike the place. And also because the IAEA is there, it will be harder to keep Russian munitions hidden from them, the ones that were moved out when the IAEA was coming in. So that's good news. Obviously, Gorbachev died this week. Yeah. Big story. Everybody there were huge crowds mourning his death in Russia. Strangely enough, Putin didn't show. Huh. Yeah. Oddly enough, the guy who benefited and became the leader of the country because of the shift in power. I'm just saying, it just seems like perhaps that that isn't Gorbachev's way of doing things is no longer welcome in the country,
right?
And going forward, they're either they're anybody who leans that way is being self-purged, by passing away, or being actively purged by Putin himself. It is Russia currently, economically, socially, materially, in every front, is on a bullet train to North Korea town. They are turning themselves into, and the goal seems to be, in the same way that we learned a new word this week on my live stream, Johnny Million, cloche. That's the little glass dome you put on a cake pan.
Oh yeah.
It's a bell. It's a cover that goes over top of it. They basically the Chinese economy. They're Xi Jinping is attempting to put a cloche over the whole thing, isolate it from the rest of the world. You can get whatever you want from the rest of the world, but nothing goes out. It's porous in one direction, and that's a scary notion. If you actually believe they were technologically advanced, they are not, and quite frankly, the fact that they are severing their internet from the rest of the world, the fact that they are severing their economy from the rest of the world, are actually, ironically, benefiting the rest of the world as the real estate market collapses in China, it is not going to take the rest of the world with it, because they've spent the last 3 years and change, especially isolating themselves. I mean, they were doing it for longer, but they were basically saying, you know, your money's no good here, and you can't take our money out of the country.
Yeah.
So they've been isolated. You know, if you're not a billionaire if you're only a billionaire in your country to the extent your government lets you. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. You're not a millionaire if you can't leave your own country. You're just you're the guy on the cell block with the most cigarettes. That's the best you can say of Chinese millionaires and billionaires right now. Or anybody in upper middle class. The growing middle class we heard about, the middle class of China is growing faster. There are more millionaires in China than there are people in the United States. That is what we've been hearing for a long time. Well, that's not true if you can't leave. The one thing you can say about people on fixed income in the United States is that every few years, they can go take an Italian cruise with their retirement funds if they want to. If that's how they want to choose to spend the money in the last few years of their lives, they're allowed. Same thing not true for China. And now we know that Russia is doing a similar thing. Partly because they want to, because they don't trust the rest of the world, and it's becoming this kind of, you know, like a paranoid game of Dutch oven. But thank you. But at the, you know, and then of course the sanctions themselves, which are having a massive, devastating effect on the country. They were always going to take a while, and the illusion that the ruble was doing great. It's all backed by gold. Well, why did they need all the gold? Because no one wants rubles. They're trading on the black market using gold. You think they're buying Iranian drones with rubles? Think about it for a second. It's absurd. They're doing it with gold. It's not because their currency is backed by gold. It's because that's the only thing Iran can exchange on the market. One of the reasons why there's this whole like gold is real money is because it operates as a physical stuff outside of monetary systems. You can have it whether it's tracked or not. Same way you can have a bag of gravel in your backyard. If you guys go, I tell you what, a bag of this kind of gravel is worth $1 million. Okay, well, don't tell anybody. That's how you can create a subversive economy that operates around the world of sanctions. Gold is the original Bitcoin for these folks. And since Bitcoin has taken a giant crap, hilariously, as if, geez, could anybody see that coming? Did I read right through the break? Did we miss the break at 30? Yeah, we got it. We got to take a break. I was chatting away and I missed it. I was so excited about this. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Don't forget, Sexy Liberals coming to Chicago on the 24th and coming to DC on the 9th. It's super exciting. It's going to be a great show. Me, John Fugelsang, Frangela. It's going to be a great time. Stephanie, of course, because it's her show.
Of course.
Goes without
right
saying.
back out.
Okay, goes without saying. All right. Let me see if we can get over here. I'm going to jump right in here. Hi, folks. Hold on one second. Yeah, okay. CPT's in here with me. I let Johnny, do his business on, in private. Hi, chat room. Hi, welcome, guys. How are you? Much love. Good to see you. Tappity yap yap. Hem. I got to tell you, there's a lot of words in the song New Thing. It's like, imagine singing an Eminem rap. That's what it's like. Like, it's bad enough. Hi, Arcstrand. It's bad enough, actually rapping an Eminem song. Like the amount of words he crowbars into that. But New Thing is like singing notes of those things. Like the breath control involved in that song is, it's a master class in breath control. It's Donnie's double fisting dunce dance, is it? Imagine singing Tangled Up in Blue. Yep. Information came about her. Suddenly I live without her. Turn my stereo up loud, 'cause I don't wanna live without her. Took myself a small vacation, kind of an invigorate. Like, it goes on and on. There's a bit of it. Go listen to it. It's crazy. And then the chorus is one long note. Get high on a new thing. Get high on a new thing. Get high, 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 high on a new thing. Like, that's crazy. It's Enough's Enough, new thing. It was their first single. I'm taking care of my voice. It's just a little scratchy. I'm fine. Yeah, it's crazy. I will. I'm saying, yeah. Enough's enough. And we sang Fly High, Michelle. A little too loud. I'm sorry. Johnny Million's back. Hold on one second. He missed me singing. Oh, where is he? There he goes. Come back in. There's you guys. There he is.
We're back in 15 seconds.
You were snacking. I thought you had to see a man about a mule.
I had to see a cat about a feeding.
Oh,
and then it looked so good, I had some of her food. It's a little. Goes a long way.
Welcome back
Now
to
I'm
the
jealous.
HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Sorry, I feel like my zombie is coming on. I feel like
It's like that.
Johnny Miller-
what was the movie? District 6, District 19.
District
where the
District
aliens
9?
like cat food.
9. Yeah. Johnny Million had to take a break to feed his cat and decided it looked tasty. I'm still of the theory that Taco Bell is cat food for humans, but
Oh yeah.
but only going by smell and speed of availability. That's just I'm not against it. I've often been jealous of how excited my cat gets when it eats. But
Right.
the White House is now seeking, by the way, $11.7 billion in additional Ukraine aid. About 3/4 of the provided funds have already been committed. Officials seek an extra $2 billion to keep the U.S. energy costs down, because there's a lot more to it than just arms. Some of it
Thank you,
is.
Joe.
You what?
I was just thanking Joe LaFaro for a super chat, just like throwing it in there, like you wouldn't notice.
For Joe LaFaro, thank you so much. And thank you, MJ, as well. Much love to Hal, Johnny, and the Sparklers. That's what we call our little crowd. A little group has always been and always will until the end of the show, which is about 20 minutes away. So White House has asked Congress to provide an additional aid for Ukraine in the fiscal year that begins October 1st. By the way, this is normal. This is how this should work. The fact that they're coming back and asking again and again is how you should do it. This blank check nonsense that we got used to under Bush, it's a good thing that the Biden administration is going back asking for these amounts in bits, that they're establishing how much they do, and they have to sign off on what it's for. So again, they signed off on a bigger bill earlier this year. Most of it's been allocated, but each piece has to be like, we got to check in. So maybe they don't need the whole 40 was the idea. So we just come back in and we'll say yes. And it'll just get passed fairly easily. The administration is seeking $11.7 billion in security and economic assistance for Ukraine in the first quarter of fiscal 2023, along with $2 billion aimed at helping prevent domestic energy costs from going up as Russian President Vladimir Putin squeezes supplies. That's the other story. So Europe has been dealing with an energy crisis, and that's what's driving the price of energy. Specifically, Germany and Italy, two very large countries with lots of people in them, have been very reliant on Russian energy to keep their lights on while they move towards renewables. Their bum rush towards renewables without the technology in place to actually make the change is like Indiana Jones running up and exchanging a golden idol with a slightly smaller golden idol that they have on loan from the person who runs the darts on either side of the temple. Does that make sense? I think that was just, I stand by that analogy.
Yeah.
I like it.
I approve.
Right. And this has been an issue for a long time. It's going to be an issue. When Trump said, I told Angela Merkel she was waving the white flag, let me be abundantly clear. He was saying, you're going to have to. That just get out, because at some point Congress is going to make me sanction Russia because they're going to attack. If I win a second term, Russia's going to take Ukraine and people are going to sanction it and you're going to be screwed. So fix that. Or because we're not going to help you. You're waving. And by the way, he didn't send her a white flag. He showed her a white napkin at the table because somebody else told her that, because Mark Milley told them this, even though Trump never intended to have them on the team or push back against Russia at all. He was mad. If you recall, once we discovered that there were a bunch of Russian spies in the United States, a big batch of them, we kicked them out, and other countries kicked them out because they'd been messing around in our election. Trump wanted to kick out the same number that European countries did each, which was about 2 or 3. Well, that's all they needed in Germany and France and other countries. They didn't need 20 to 30 or 60. We kicked out somewhere in the order of 60, and he was mad. He wanted us to kick out 2-3 people, call it a day, and then Russia could go back to doing whatever it was doing. But they had 60 people positioned in the country that we knew of at the time for sure that were engaged in election interference and were monkeying around with our political system, both in, curiously enough, most of them were in D.C., no surprise, New York, and Florida, with a couple of stragglers in California and in Texas, 2 or 3 in Texas and like 1 in California, because you got to cover your bases. It's a big country.
Yeah.
But like the vast majority of them in, of course, D.C., New York, and Florida. Everywhere this dude hangs out, it's just weird. It's like they move closer to him. So, anyways, there's this the Gazprom halted oil and gas going through their gas pipeline into Europe. And this is, I don't know why anybody didn't see this coming. Like that's how it's going to be. And the United States is already supplying Europe with a lot of LNG for the winter so that they can use it to keep the lights on and keep people's homes warm during the winter. That's why we're doing this. Here's the problem. The reason why Europe has relied so much on gas from Europe is it remains, I feel the same way, it remains in gaseous form when it goes through this pipeline. If you use LNG, liquefied natural gas, it is taken from a gaseous form, turned into a liquid form, and then transported and turned from a liquid form back into a gas so that it can be used. You need refineries, effectively, or conversion facilities on either side of that process. A lot of European countries do not have those facilities, and the process of building them is a long one. It takes years, because you're dealing with combustible gases under compression and conversion, which, if you don't build these things right, will blow up and kill lots of people. So no surprise, Italy and Germany specifically, but a couple of other European countries, and I guess Turkey to a lesser extent, are not prepared to switch to liquid natural gas from any other source, not just us, but Qatar, which is the second largest provider of LNG in that area, and it's going to Europe. So once the gas version of this gas, and not the gas version, it's a gas. The whole thing is a gas. We're Jumpin' Jack Flash. It was a warning. That song's, I don't know why Q hasn't broken down Jumpin' Jack Flash, because it probably is the Nostradamus song of the age. But particularly, this conversion process is a long one. Now, the interesting thing is, Russia's run by morons, and they align themselves with other morons like Donald Trump. So they were going to fail from the very beginning. And the timing at which they attacked almost materially could not have given Europe a longer a period of time to build up their oil and gas reserves, specifically their natural gas reserves, before the winter. If they'd attacked in May, Europe would be in dire straits because the whole process would have been pushed, 3-4 months in people gearing up for this possibility. And then the delay of after it happened, is this really going to go on for a long time? Is this, what's the extent of this? Will it affect, sanctions going into place? It would have pushed it all into winter of 2023 in January and February. But because Russia chose to attack when it did, which is basically as soon as the ground thawed, and even a little bit before, because of that, they gave the United States and Europe ample time, however compressed, to fill up the gas reserves of all these countries. And now the gas reserves in some countries like Finland, their gas reserves are at 93%. So when Russia shut them off, didn't make much of a difference because they filled those them up, but also if you look at how much gas they use, they get about 4 to 8% of their energy from gas. So it's not a big deal. They've got plenty for a long time. As a matter of fact, they could give some of it away through the winter and not worry about it too much, depending on the depth of the winter. The big deal is, with Gazprom in particular shutting down this pipeline. They have announced that they announced on September 2nd that it is shutting down Nord Stream 1, and they are not planning on opening it again, and they are flaring gas, burning it off essentially, instead of sending the gas that's been paid for. So even the countries that were like, well, we don't like doing business with Russia, but I suppose we'll hold our nose while we do it because we don't really have another choice. They're not even getting the gas they paid for. And this puts Russia and we got to take a break, but this puts Russia in the exact same position that we are in with China and lockdowns. Chengdu and Chongqing have been shut down because of lockdowns and Shenzhen is still under a limited lockdown. Even in areas where they say they aren't. It's terrible. So if you're going to open a factory, are you going to open it in China or are you going to open it in Thailand or Mexico or Vietnam or even the United States or Canada at this point, where it might cost you a little more in the short term in the wage world, but you damn sure it'll stay open. And if you're going to rely on the one major output from Russia, which is effectively petroleum-based products, mainly oil and gas and fertilizer for them, are you going to start finding other ways of getting that stuff that pretends that market never existed? Imagine Russia nuked itself out of existence. What would the world's response be? What would they do? You'd have to make do, right? You'd have to come up with another way to get oil and gas. You'd have to come up with another way to get the wheat that would have come from there, and you got to come up with another way to get the fertilizer. Guess what? The rest of the world's already doing that. They're moving on. It's done. There is no coming back for the Russian economy. Period. End of story. We are entering a whole new world. It's the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT820.com, and of course, streaming live at infotainment. Oh, Johnny's turning into a zombie. We got to go to break. He's turning into a zombie. No, he's just dancing like Elaine from Seinfeld. Sorry. It's interesting how the Elaine from Seinfeld dance and the, oh my God, I'm becoming a zombie in 28 Days Later are so, I guess
very similar.
It's the limitations of the human form, I think. The body can only do so much.
We can only do so many things.
It's like Bruce Lee said, all fighting styles are functional to some degree because as long as humans have 2 arms and 2 legs, there's gonna be a lot of overlap until a person grows a 3rd arm, which, by the way, it'll be a 4th arm. I'm just saying. Human brain works in parallel, so you're going to see an apparatus before too long that is 2 robot arms, and people will have the brain pan able to run them while they do other stuff. It will be able to lift your cup and do that kind of stuff while you're writing and that kind of. The prosthetics that are coming out are so amazing. that we're about 3 years from people using them just for their own, while I'm doing other stuff, I just tell it to pick up this thing and hold it for me while I'm doing this thing. Or
coming back in 20.
Thank you. Yeah, just saying. And hi, chat room. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Give a thumbs up for Johnny Million. Come on. Do you love our Johnny Million? Give a thumbs up. Let us know. If you've already given a thumbs up, I'm just going to assume you do.
I hope so.
I am happy, you are happy. Let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky. Let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. 'Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling. Let us smile together, whether the weather is cloudy or stormy. I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
Yay!
There was crazy when that song went on.
You what? Sorry?
The chat went crazy.
Yes, they love it. It's good. I mean, ultimately, it's interesting right now because there are so many, I usually have a rule about the good news part of the show because I like it to be kind of generally good news. You know what I mean? Kind of like the thing I said earlier, which I got a, kind of a jump on it, which is that the bottom 50% has seen the biggest wage gains in the last year and a half since Biden took office. And by the way, the upper 1% and the upper, the middle 40%, while they lost a little, did not lose in a measurable way that will affect them long term or lower their standard of living in any way, which is a good sign. So, for me,
Hollywood Hal's got some fans in the super chat.
Really? I gotta find. I don't even have a pair of sunglasses nearby that I could just throw some on right now and just do that. Like during the happy endings, it'll be Hollywood Hal. Does that
Hal's happy ending?
And somebody's asking in the chat where that song from. That's from Garfunkel and Oates. That's Kate Micucci and Garfunkel and Oates is their comedy duo.
Why can't I come up with Kate Micucci and Googling?
Yeah, we're both going to brain fart on it right away because she sat down and she did the song. She played the song for us live. That's a recording from in studio in Chicago. It was fabulous.
Ricky Lindholm.
Huh?
Ricky Lindholm is
yes, Ricky Lindholm. That's right. So, good stuff overall. I will say that probably, and I try not to do kind of like Schadenfreude wins, right? But let's make things abundantly. Let's look at after the Dark Brandon speech this week.
Mm-hmm.
A good thing, and oh, by the way, they scrubbed the NASA Artemis launch today because of a hydrogen leak,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and hydrogen just getting all full of itself, literally. Just because it's the most abundant molecule or, atom in the universe, we got to wait for you. Okay, maybe, fine. But I would like
everywhere.
I would like to say that the Artemis pause is in its own right a happy ending. It is it's how stuff is supposed to work. It is not disappointing. It is good. Disappointing is, let's launch anyways. Boom.
Yeah.
That's disappointing. Take your time. This is like people who argue when their plane has a malfunction and their flight is late because of that, and they're like, come on. Like, no. If at any point, even when you're waiting.
It beats the alternative.
Yeah, right. I'm not going up in a broken plane. Simmer down. Yep. You're lucky you live in a time when you can get someplace in 3 hours that it used to take the Donner Party to die never getting to. Like, for God, I mean, come on. You're not, like, I would understand being in the middle of Death Valley, screaming at the wheel of your covered wagon, going, where am I going to find a new covered wagon wheel at this hour? So, and if you ever want to, see one of the big reasons why I feel this way is go look at Cenk Uygur yelling at, I think they were Southwest employees because the plane was late. And then he got extra mad, I think, when the crew didn't show, or they were waiting on the crew, and he was like yelling at them that they're lying, that they're not really waiting on the crew. Look, here's another thing. I don't want to fly in a broken plane, and I don't want to fly with a crew that's tired. If it took them a little bit to get from one plane to the other, or I don't want another plane to go down and go, well, all right, the crew's late, but it's because their plane went down because they were exhausted. Like, it's just stupid. Forget it. So it's good news that NASA scrubbed the launch for today, and they will do it when they're darn good and ready. And it's a positive. I'm just saying. That, by the way, and in a couple of good news specific areas, Dr. Oz is losing to Fetterman by 8 points currently. Mastriano is losing by 7 points. These are outside the margin of error. Nothing is safe until we are ridiculously outside of the margin of error, and we keep it that way. So as long as those people, everybody who answers that poll votes, we're in good shape. But everybody's got to vote. Please go to either iwillvote.org or to vote.org and make sure that you are registered. Make sure that you are still on the rolls, that you haven't been bumped by some lunatic right-wing Secretary of State, or they haven't filed some sort of paperwork to get people in everybody named Johnny knocked off the rolls. I know that they've attempted that. So make sure that you are registered. It's okay in this environment to be paranoid about whether or not your vote will be counted, or your vote, your ballot will come and be made available to you. Take every step, and just so you can vote, make sure. If you are worried at all about Louis DeJoy still being there, Louis DeJoy, guy's got to, I don't know what that is. Guy's got to go. But it might just be cyclical. But if you're worried about your mail-in vote, drop it off. Go right to one of the county offices or something like that. Make sure your vote is counted. And don't, however, and I know how upsetting this will be to maggots, do not vote twice.
No.
To take care to have your one vote counted, but don't vote again just because you're worried. And seriously, vote blue no matter who, because there is not even there's no competition right now between people who want the government run sensibly and well for everyone. And by the way, the mitigating factors against the most extreme in the party as well. Like, as much as people might want to, well, I don't want to vote Democrat because they want, drag queens teaching sex ed in preschool, like some nonsense like that. There are backstops against, there are crazies in every group, and there are backstops against that craziness that exist, except in the Republican Party, where the inmates now run the asylum. Like, that's obvious. And by the way, somebody in the chat room said, please vote twice, Mac. It's awesome. No, yes, Donnie said it okay. It said it's okay. Johnny did not. I did not. No. We are not MAGA folks, trolls. You are out there. We know you exist. Do not vote twice. Vote once. Let your vote count. I love democracy more than I hate you. So I want your vote counted so that you can see fair and square that you are outnumbered and your ideas are fringy and crazy. I don't want to steal an election from you. None of my Democratic friends want to steal an election from you. We have no interest. We want you to realize fair and square that your ideas are losing ones, and that we are not your enemy, that the ideas put forth by the Biden administration and the Democratic Congress and Senate right now benefit you. You don't think there are going to be more Q people online because of rural broadband? Of course there are.
Yeah.
But the good of people being able to educate themselves and be connected and start businesses all throughout the country and having equal quality internet, even if you live out in the sticks, has more value than my worry about how many more queues will be added to the internet.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. So, and we only got a minute left. So, thanks everybody. Good luck turning into a zombie today. If you're worried about it at all, maybe handcuff yourself to a radiator, or use maybe a ball gag. I don't know what the bite strength of a zombie is. You might have to use a pool cue or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I will be on later.
You're gonna need more instructions.
That's right. I will be on later streaming the Trump rally or waggle or whatever he's calling it, and Johnny and I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for the super chats and the support. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Infotainmentwars.com. That's my YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. All right. Thank you, Chicago.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next time. There's that guy. Okay. And then Johnny Millions. Wonderful. Don't forget, guys, if we don't get enough thumbs up, Johnny has said he's not returning. And I want him to be here, but he is holding me hostage.
Oh, yeah. That's my move.
He said, if we don't hit at least since we have 2,108 people in the chat right now, if we don't get at least 1,000 thumbs up, Johnny is oh my God, people are taking back their thumbs ups. What's happening?
Yeah.
They're going to, that's terrible. I'm just kidding.
All right. I am that delusional.
Yeah. Anyways, love you, Johnny Million. You're wonderful. Can't wait to see you in Chicago.
Yes.
Please be my guest at Sexy Liberal with your honey.
I would love to, but Convoy's playing that night.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Where are you playing locally?
We're playing in Schaumburg, which I was trying to figure out how you could see the show, but I don't know. It's going to be like the same time.
Oh. All right, let's see. Well, then what time's your sound check, do you know? Because maybe we could get you to come down and visit with everybody beforehand at the little coffee clatch beforehand.
I don't know.
Well, then,
I'll know more the closer we got.
At the very least, I will see you at the radio show because we'll be doing it from the studio.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we'll be doing it from Chicago in studio, which will be great.
Yep.
So, much love. Either way, we'll figure it out. I'm going to see you. That's how it'll work. Okay. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Bye, Johnny Million. Let him go early because he deserves the break. You deserve a break. Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody. Hold on. Boink. There we go. Ba-boom. Hi, chat room. Thanks for hanging in there. I'm going to stop this stream now since I am coming back later, and I will see you guys at it'll probably be 8 Eastern by the time he's on stage, something like that. So I'll keep an eye out. I'll keep the feed up on my end, and then whenever it looks like they're going to really announce him, then believe me, as soon as they start playing the songs beforehand, I'll know when they're gearing up and when he's present because they have the same playlist. So I'll roll that. I predict POTUS will be more like 9 Eastern. I don't doubt it. I think you're right. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what he says though, because I think it's just going to be ranty and angry and sweaty and bad and so good. And I love the fact that in that Truth Social thing, let's see if I can show you guys that. Where he put "I'm really rich" in quotes. Yeah, there it is. Hold on. This guy right here. This is look at that. "I'm really rich" is in quotes. What? Private company, anyone? Yeah, pay for it, dummy. Buy it from those guys. I'm sure they'll sell it to you for $1.5 billion or whatever the heck. The Trump Media and Technology Group is owned by that SPAC. It's not even owned by him. Take it. Nobody's stopping you, dummy. You're a billionaire, right? Take it private. Good Lord. So, anyways, much love to you guys. I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourself, and I will see you at probably 8 or 9 Eastern. I'm sorry for the late hour, but that's probably when he'll drag his ass out. So Trump is the Greg Kelly of punctuation. Little bunny, fuck you. Little bunny, fuck you. All right. Bye. Love you guys.